everybody? Welcome to Coffee for Closers. Alex Wellings here, as always, here bringing the best and brightest news I can find as far as advice on sales tips, marketing tips, industry updates, whatever it might be. We're here and we're back bringing you that information. The goal is to not have a slowdown as much as humanly possible. We have been growing like a weed here at Megastar, and it has been completely time consuming, and that's exciting for a number of different reasons. We've launched an incredible new program in Autopilot, which is really exciting. If you don't know, I don't know that everybody knows this to this point, but Autopilot was kind of a brainchild of not just a few over here, but a huge team effort. And if you don't know what Autopilot is our it started as a private sector workshop program that evolved into like, how can we actually make something that is a online production that folks would actually want to watch. I think webinars have been out there forever, and they've been really boring. You know, most people that do webinars, they do a slide deck. They have the slide deck rolling. We did kind of a parody of it in our premiere video of Autopilot, making fun of this kind of industry standard that is somebody sitting in a chair at a desk, and they're kind of like in the traditional Zoom format where they've got themselves in the up right-hand corner and they're kind of fumbling through slides, and it's just, I've been on enough of these to know, and you know, sometimes even the speaker doesn't even have their camera on. It's incredible to me, but it's not what people want to watch. People want to watch engaging content. They need a lot of content. We know that. We know the generation that's retiring right now grew up with television. That was their big source, television news. And yeah, they've graduated to online circumstances now, streaming a little bit more. And so we owe it to ourselves to think in a new light when it comes to how do you give online education these days. And there's just so many great examples from so many different industries. And myself and my videographer, Jacob Scott, who, you know, many of you don't probably know, but Jacob, I'm going to do my best to work him into Coffee for Closers as best as possible because he's a brilliant mind. Jacob, say hi to everybody. You over there?
Hello, everybody. I'm over here.
So Jacob and I have really been on a mission together. I don't know, when did we start going down that path? Was that like a year ago, maybe, at this point?
For Autopilot?
Yeah, just like webinar, recircumstancing the webinar just in general.
Probably about a year ago, because that started right when I rolled through the doors pretty much. Yeah,
so maybe just, you know, it was kind of like when Jacob came on, it was, we got to change this because I was bored of doing it. And so if I'm bored doing it, how bored are the people that are watching them? And so it was, okay, we're going to change this to be something different. And then how can we incorporate AI? And so what we ended up with Autopilot was this incredible production that goes on. And it does a really good job of explaining how do you as a producer showcase your knowledge and use the power of video to showcase what points you're trying to make in the financial planning process. And we've done that. And so this incredible production plays as if it was live, although we don't overplay the fact that it's live. I think a lot of folks need to like really be like, I'm going to simulate it live and it's really going to feel live, right? I mean, everybody was doing that.
Yeah.
Trying to like pretend they're live. And I don't know that you need to call out that you're live, and I don't know that you need to, admit that you're completely recorded. It's almost more like leave it ambiguous, right? I mean, and that's kind of where I feel like we've got a good balance of, is this live? Is it not live? Either way, it's great content.
Yeah.
And then our development team on top of that adds in this element of, you know, we can really integrate the new capabilities of AI to help streamline the conversation, stimulate the conversation in the chat, stimulate poll responses. I mean, it's been a really, really powerful program. And so what happens now, like our end goal was to create something that would generate appointments for advisors, whether it be directly on the calendar. Some advisors wanted it right on their calendar, and that there was no real work that needed to be done by them. Other folks have their office running in a different setting, and it really is that kind of customizing. You come in, you film something for yourself that showcases your knowledge on whatever topic you want to do. It generates appointments as if they watched you in a workshop in your local community, and drives appointments into your office, or it drives appointments virtually, whatever the advisor wants. And so it's a super custom program. It does have some upfront work that needs to be done as far as development of the production. And I don't know, what are we running, like a 2-week runtime? You come in, you film, it takes 2 weeks for it to really be edited, the script for the chat to be written out, the poll questions to be written out, all that stuff.
Generally, yeah. I mean, but recently it's been so popular that
so we did a soft launch to our producers. Pretty much everybody, whether they've, it's only been 3 weeks since we've really launched it, but we've been beta testing it for a year. So in the 3 weeks, in the month and a half probably, because we did like a 2-week launch promotion out to producers, initial launch. People that were interested right away got on the calendar. We kind of slowed down a second. It's like, okay, we got to get through the first initial filming because it was wild. And then we ended up saying, okay, we'll send it back to, or let's get it back out and pitch another round of producers. And so now another round of producers are coming in. But it's been nonstop filming. Like, so last week, how many we had? We had 3 or 4 producers in.
3 producers last week, and I think we had 3 producers the week before that.
Yeah.
And have already had producers this
three
week.
Before that. Yeah. And and we've already had more producers come in this week that we're filming. And so these films, they get edited down. The scripts for the chat then have to get written out. The poll questions need to be generated. Some producers are doing more in the interaction of the presentation. Some are doing less. So some are coming in just filming like a Q&A session, and then we build a presentation that's done by either myself or one of our other advisors to kind of do the actual presenting. So the guys that were a little less comfortable presenting their own topic, they wanted to more have just a dialogue or a little camera shy or something like that, and they wanted to do something a little different. They did that. Other folks are like, I want to do it all A to Z, everything me. That's totally fine too. They came in with their own presentation, their own idea how they wanted to film. And everybody gets a consultation. So you can have a consultation with us before you ever get going in it. But then you come in, you have a day of filming, we film, we go to lunch, we idea share some more, we come back. Then in a week, you have a rough draft to look at. Then another week after that, you have the final draft with script, with poll questions created, all of that stuff. And you say yay or nay, it's ready to air. And then boom, we're ready to go, right? I mean, that's it. And just set it and forget it from there. Like, unless you find that the quality of the appointments are crap.
Yeah, which I think the coolest thing about it is we've had numerous people come in and film so far that have no experience on camera.
Yeah.
And it's like a walkthrough step-by-step process of
what do you
how do we make them as comfortable as possible?
Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like, so most folks don't have any camera experience.
Yeah.
Like almost none at all.
Oh, I mean, a lot of these people have workshop experience, but nothing.
Public
virtual.
Speaking experience for sure. I've not seen many folks come in and be like, except for Kathy, when she came in, she had some television experience and she was good.
Pretty good.
She was very
I'll give
good.
It to her.
So kudos to Kathy if you're watching. You did a great job, and it came through really good on your editing. But and not to say others didn't. Other folks, came in, maybe were nervous, unnecessarily nervous, and sobered up from that real quick and gave a killer presentation. And every video, it's been shocking to me how good we've been able to make each of the videos look, and then the performance has been really good on the back end of it as well.
Yeah.
And so, there's 3 different packages. If you're interested in that, you talk to one of our reps here at Megastar. They'll talk to you about how it all works and as far as promotion goes and the appointments, what you should expect from it, blah, blah, blah. But then on top of that, you've got wealth reports on those folks. So anybody that comes in, books an appointment, and you can't run a wealth report on everybody, but if we have enough data and we can decisively decide that this is the person that booked the appointment, we can get a brief summary of who they are financially. And that's really, really powerful. You can get like net investable assets, what is their home value. And it's like, honestly, if you tell me you've got somebody that's got $1 million in a home, I'll tell you there's an annuity sale there if they're in that retirement age range. I mean, there's some money there. You got $1 million home in Florida, for instance. You know, you've got money somewhere to make an annuity sale. I'd be very shocked if you didn't, just from simple mortgaging ability of $1 million home.
Yeah.
But then too, you know, you find investable assets, and whether that's exactly spot on or roughly, it's like it gives you a good confidence level knowing that this is a quality prospect before you even call them. So,
but it's like when you go into a regular workshop, how much information are you getting?
Yeah, you don't get anything. People? Yeah. Until afterwards, you sit down on your first appointment, you find out. But you know, it is one of those things where it's like, what am I getting from this? It's so. You do in a workshop, there's some definite value to the fact that it's like you sit down in a workshop, you get to see the audience, you can make some eyeball judgments. Great book out there if anybody hasn't seen it before or read it before. It's called Blink. It's by Malcolm Gladwell. Blink is all about those instantaneous, in the blink of an eye, as it goes. You make a snap judgment on somebody and get an almost eerily accurate projection on who they are as a person. And it's so subconscious. You know, we try not to make judgments on that, but this is a study. I mean, Malcolm Gladwell, if you're familiar with his writings, he leads by facts. You know, he does research, and I'd almost argue in some cases it's you know, he almost finds facts to support his reasoning, but it's still very, very interesting, and there's definitely validity to what he's saying. And what he says is, you know, in the blink of an eye, you get a chance to really identify who somebody is and know whether, you know, this is somebody you want to deal with or not. And so in a seminar, you get that ability. In this sort of thing, you're blind to it until they actually either come in for their appointment or you talk to them or something like that. And so those wealth reports do help with some of that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's this world of like, look, you don't stop doing your workshops. This is an augment or an addition or maybe a replacement for some, to say, hey, you know, I'm doing this workshop, but I know I've got competitors in the area. How do I steal the potential prospects from them before they ever get to them? Right? So if I'm doing dinner workshops, I do Social Security workshops. Or if you're a producer watching this and you do Social Security workshops, you have to know there's just a ton of other folks in your local community that are doing Social Security workshops, maybe feeding, maybe not feeding. But it's like, how can I get the people that are going to their class that have never attended my class to see me before they go to them? And maybe I can sink my teeth into that before they ever get there. And, you know, it's online. You have to know. I mean, everybody. It
gives them the ability to be two places at once.
Two places at once, right? It doesn't mean stop doing what you're doing, because part of your workshops in your area, part of that is brand awareness. There's branding going on. You're around your community. You do events. People can see you if they want to. You're out in the public. If you hide behind a computer screen forever, it's like you either commit to the virtual model and you collect the amount of people willing to do that by doing it more nationally based. If you're trying to stay in your community, just giving up on workshops and replacing with all this automated system stuff isn't going to be the best business practice, at least in my opinion. You still got to do those things. It just means maybe you don't have to do as many. If you're doing 12 workshops, maybe you do 4, right? Once a quarter.
Maybe you can reach a larger band of people.
Yeah, you raise your radius a little bit more. Yeah. I do the same 12 workshops, but I also touch people in communities outside of my area that I never would have done a workshop in. And what other thing that we found, Jacob, in our testing, remember this is a really important one, is we found out that the radius we were typically setting for seminar promotion was much smaller than what you could set for the webinar world, not just because you can reach everywhere, but because people will drive a certain amount of distance to come hear you talk on a topic that they're interested in. They'll drive a greater distance for somebody that potentially would solve the problem on that topic, right? So if you show that there's a problem and that they potentially have it and that you can solve it, they might drive like another 30 minutes to go see the guy that's the expert in the area.
they're willing to do that for an appointment, not necessarily for
a workshop.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's another thing. The appointment's generally made on their time and their schedule, whereas your workshop is on a night that you set, not necessarily fit to the prospect's schedule. And so that was a really interesting finding. We were able to increase radiuses by 30-40% because, again, people would drive a greater distance to solve the problem than to find out about a problem.
They get to see the value before they make a
for
commitment
sure.
on driving that
And you're this
distance.
minor celebrity, you know, when they get there, like, oh, I get to sit down with the Jacob Scott. Like, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's what you're going to get to do. And so we found ourselves in this place where you know, this program's really hot. And so last week, and that's what I really want. I was telling Jacob before we came on here, if we got to get back to doing these videos as constantly as we possibly can, and the most important thing that we can convey is what we're living every day. And what we're living right now is there's a massive surge of advisors out there that see the ability. One, they see the necessity of being out in their communities and doing the traditional styles of marketing, workshops, stuff like that. But two, COVID, that whole period proved that there's a ton of consumers out there that want to do business with people this way, this kind of hybrid way where I can virtually deal with you or I can come into your office. I can get to you, but I also can see you quickly online. Doctors are doing this a lot. You see that real estate agents are doing this a lot. Most of it is virtual. There's a small element of in-person. You go in each year for your physical, but you talk to your doctor frequently virtually, and that retirement world is living that right now. By the time the next generation, Generation X or whatever you want to call them, comes through and goes into retirement years, those people might want 100% virtual, just don't even want to deal with it, you know? And then, you know, whatever, Gen Z will just want everything delivered to them by the government or something. Who knows?
Is that including me? Am I Gen Z?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm generalizing. Sorry for all that. But I'm just saying, you know, it's a progression towards the virtual world. And we owe it to ourselves, if we're growing a business in this environment, to embrace that as much as we can, or as much as we should, you know. Yeah, as much as we can, really. That's the right word, because, you know, some of us don't want to, or some of us are doing just fine without it. And so Autopilot is this incredible innovation. It's the first of its kind when it comes to integrating AI and online content in a new way. It is generating appointments like most things out there, but I'd say they're workshop quality appointments. People that have seen you, hear your pitch, know who you are, know what the problem is, and are coming in for that. So it's the same kind of teed up appointment, but you didn't have to be there, and that's an incredibly important task, and it's, again, farther reaching. And then, you know, the AI side of it is again, stoking the fire. It is helping nudge the person towards the decision that we want them to make. And that's really, I think, the best use of the AI is, can we gently use artificial intelligence to create the environment that we're trying to create? And that's what we've done. And it's a really powerful thing. I think it's very tasteful in every way. And if you haven't taken a look at it, I urge you to take a look at it. But last week, that's really what I was seeing, is a ton of people, again, a lot of producers, our most successful producers too, really pushing it to say, I see the vision. Let's come in. Let's get this film. Let's see how it works, and let's set it and forget it. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see all that. And two, like in the federal side of things too, we're doing the same thing. So whether it's federal or private sector, it does not matter. You can film, use the Autopilot. I'm looking at Autopilot more as like a technology rather than, say, a specific marketing program to a specific person.
Yeah.
It is a technology that can be used in whatever type of marketing you want. And so, anyway, it's a powerful thing, and you know, I just wanted to keep everybody updated on that. And you know, again, I want to do more of these, you know, as many as we possibly can, because I see this obviously as a really valuable tool to keep everybody in the business as updated as possible, as what we see here at Megastar and beyond. So, you know, everybody, thanks so much for watching. You know, whether it be next week or later this week, we'll see you right here next time on Coffee for Closers. Thanks for joining us. Take care.